Ladies and gents, hello and welcome to a very special Monday episode of ROG Pulse, your inside look at everything happening behind the scenes here at the Republic of Gamers. Today, we've got some new motherboards that are on shelf.
Yes, motherboards that are available to buy today. These are the motherboards we announced at Computex this year. So whether you are using a new Ryzen 9000 series CPU or if you've got a previous chip like a Ryzen 7800 X3D or something, we've got a new chipset, X870 and X870E, packed with features that are going to help you make the absolute most of your processor on a new build. Today's stream is going to be a little bit shorter, just kind of a short overview of what our X870 and X870E motherboards offer. But for a deeper dive and like hands-on with all these boards, go check out our ASUS North America channel. Our colleague JJ over there has some more in-depth content on these as well. So definitely go check that out if you're interested in purchasing one of these boards, or if you bought one and you want to like actually dig into how some of these features work. The ASUS North America channel is going to be great for that kind of stuff. You can also see the full lineup and its specs in the link in the video description. Our colleague Eric put together a really great, huge article on all of the features, all of the boards we're releasing. This is kind of going to be a condensed version of that on stream for those of you like Jake who don't like to read.
Yeah, but we've got ROG Tough and ASUS motherboards. So let's jump into the X870 and X870E motherboards.
Yes. So first, what is the difference between X870E and X870? Those of you who were around for the X670 boards may be familiar with this nomenclature, but if you were not looking at motherboards during that time, X870E is going to be the higher end, more feature-rich option. It actually has two chipsets in it, giving it more PCIe lanes and thus allowing us to pack more stuff in general onto the board. So, for example, our ROG X870E boards have 5 M.2 slots and a USB 20 gigabit per second port.
5.
While our ProArt X870E Creator Wi-Fi has a 10 gigabit networking port on it, right? More lanes means we have more leeway to increase bandwidth on things like this. It's not necessarily used the same way on every board, but it means that we have more wiggle room to just pack more stuff on. X870 are similar, but they just use one chipset. So you have, all of the essential features that you would expect from a high-end board. You've got a PCIe 5.0 X16 slot for your graphics card. You've got 2 PCIe 5.0 M.2 slots for super fast storage, so on, things like that. Of course, both platforms come with some of the latest features like Wi-Fi 7 and more stuff like that we're going to get into in a minute. Again, you can find all this info and more in the guide we've linked in the video description. So those are just some of the features the new chipset offers, but we've also added and improved some of our own like ASUS exclusive features on these new X870 and X870E boards. So let's talk about a few of those. As always, AI overclocking makes an appearance here. So you can boost your CPU clocks with just one click. And I believe we have a picture of the BIOS interface for this. There we go. There's the AM5 chipset.
Yep,
or the AM5 socket.
I just love the
usual. I know, it looks good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got AI overclocking, right? So you want to just like click a few buttons and get faster CPU performance, you can do that. But if you like to tweak some manual overclocking stuff, we've got some of those features here as well. Dynamic OC switcher is still one of my favorite things that we have ever introduced for the AMD platform, because it allows you to automatically flick between your manual overclock for multi-core workloads and AMD's own Precision Boost Overdrive for single core workloads. Before we came out with that feature, you had to kind of like choose which one of those you wanted. You only really got to overclock like not half of your CPU, but you only got to overclock at like half of the workloads that you would use it for, right? With Dynamic OC Switcher, you kind of get the best of both worlds. You also get on these boards our Core Flex feature, which can adapt your overclock based on the system's power and thermals at any given moment. We did talk about those more in detail in our X670, some of those videos a year or two ago, but so you can go check those out, or again, check out our ASUS North America channel if you want some more details on how those work. They're pretty cool. In addition to the overclocking tools, we also have our AI Cooling 2 tech, which performs a quick stress test and then uses that data alongside CPU monitoring info to automatically adjust your cooling. This is nice because previously, without this feature, you would have to just do it manually. And this is what I've done in the past. And honestly, it's kind of a hassle to like manually tune your fan curves all the time because there's no like one fan curve that's right for everyone. People sometimes come in the Discord and they're like, what's the best fan curve? Well, it's not really how it works, right? It's based on the specs of your fans. It's based on the CPU use. It's based on your own preferences for noise to an extent. Like,
yeah, a lot of variables.
Yeah. So, some people may still want to do it manually, but the nice thing about this is that it will basically test your CPU and say, okay, this is like the lowest fan speed that we can get for these different levels for quiet operation while still keeping the CPU cool, while keeping it from getting too hot. And that allows you to reduce the noise level significantly from whatever default curves may be set on whatever fans you have popped into that case, right? So it's a nice way to get optimal or mostly optimal fan curves without having to make them yourself. Again, the AI stuff is great. So new for our X870 and X870E motherboards, though, is AI networking 2. And this is actually a collection of a few features. Traffic Monitor tracks your current Wi-Fi channel usage. I think we have a screenshot of this. If there are too many other devices using the channel you're on, yeah, there you go. You can just click channel switch and it'll just pop you over to a less congested one. What else is cool is that the AI networking 2 uses our Wi-Fi Q antenna. That's this black thing you see next to the traffic monitor window. That comes with the motherboards, and it's nice because it's like an external antenna that you plug into the motherboard, and then you can use features in Armoury Crate like Fast Check and Direction Finder that will help you set up the antenna in the optimal position and optimal like layout to get the best signal strength from your router. And then you add that to our Game First 6 feature, and you can prioritize game packets to ensure that, if you're playing online multiplayer, you're going to get as smooth an experience as possible, even if you are playing over Wi-Fi. Of course, these boards also have Ethernet, quite fast Ethernet.
Wi-Fi is getting so good, though. Like, it really has come such a long way.
The boards now have faster Ethernet than like my house does, so I guess I need to update my Switch and all that other stuff too.
Oh no!
With it. Since all of these features are on X870E, this is all happening with the latest Wi-Fi 7 technology specifically, right? So if you have a compatible router, like one of our awesome new ROG Rapture models, you have a super fast setup that's ready to play, and you won't miss the Ethernet. It's nice. So here's something cool on the hardware side that is specific to ASUS X870E boards as well. NitroPath DRAM technology. You'll find this on 2 of our ROG boards this generation. These are slightly different RAM slots that has increased slot retention, but also reduces noise interference by using shorter gold finger pins and more optimized signal pathways on the board. That is a lot of tech speak to basically say that you get faster data transfer rates between your CPU and your RAM. So if you're really like cranking your RAM to the max, you're going to get really nice results on the high-end ROG boards from this generation. And again, we have some more detail about that in our link in the video description. We'll link out to more detailed guides on all of these features, so you can check that out if you want to.
Very cool.
All of our X870 and X870E boards also come with 2 USB 4 ports standard, with up to 40 gigabits per second of bandwidth for external storage, or you can use it to connect like multiple displays over DisplayPort and peripherals all over a single cable. Really, really cool feature. You still get a bunch of USB ports on there, but then you could like take a USB 4 port out to a dock or something like that and just connect a whole mess of stuff to it. Really handy, especially if you want to have like access to those USB ports. You don't have to reach around your PC. Finally, we've added and improved our collection of PC DIY features on these boards. So our new BIOS interface is full. First of all, it's 1080p. Haha! The year 2024 is a good year for BIOS.
It took so
full
long.
1080p resolution.
Why?
It is glorious, though. And what's cool is that it has this feature called Q Dashboard. This is like really clever. I like this a lot. So historically, if you plug something into your motherboard and you're like, okay, where do I like tweak this setting, right? Because the name for the feature in the motherboard BIOS might not match like the name of the port itself on the motherboard. So we have this thing called Q Dashboard where you can like go click, okay, I want to mess with my like SATA, ports. Where am I going to find all the storage stuff, right? You can click on like your SATA 4G1 port over here, and it will take you to the relevant BIOS page for that like port and its functionality and its other features. And you can do that with the whole board. So it's pretty cool. Fan headers again will take you straight to cool things like that. It's nice. Especially if you're a new builder and you're like getting acquainted for the first time with what's on the motherboard and like what kind of stuff you might want to do in the BIOS. We also have a new PCIe slot Q release slim mechanism on some of these boards. This is cool. We showed this off at Computex, but for those of you that kind of missed it, historically, there's been a little latch that you have to press to release a graphics card from a motherboard. And
let me tell you, with the current gen graphics cards, they're so huge, it's so hard to get to them.
Yep, I used to have a chopstick in my desk, and then actually my graphics card came with this little ruler. I don't know if yours like your ROG
I actually just use a plastic ruler as well.
I use this.
Yeah, I use a plastic ruler.
I used to use that, but now our boards. So before we last generation, we put a little button on there that made it a lot that was kind of further away from the slot because it's
closer to the memory,
bigger, right? So
yeah,
a really simple button that would just release the graphics card out of its slot. Now you don't even need a button. That's what's cool about this. So what you do is you like, you just grab the graphics card and you like tilt it away from the board and it pops right out.
That's magic.
It is so cool. No button pressing, no like getting a ruler to try and press the latch. Those days are over. You can just pop it out.
That's amazing. That's so good.
I know. It's things like this that have like really sold me on some of these boards. Even if you only build your PC once, it's really nice, because obviously you're not going to be.
You should take your card out and clean the fans once in a while. Like,
but you do you upgrade your graphics card down the line. I'm kind of a tinkerer. I mean, I know there are a lot of people watching that are also tinkerers, like
of course,
who are like, oh, I'm gonna pop stuff out and move stuff around and do, maybe more than I actually need to. And things like this are really, really handy for that.
Somebody in chat was just joking they need to upgrade the monitor on their bench just because we're going up to 1080p. It's like that's such a funny like problem to have. It's like, yeah, I get it.
You have a little like 576p monitor.
It was fine
because
for
it was only
20
for
years.
Yeah. No, because the cool thing about 1080p is not just like the text is sharper, but you can fit more on the page when you have a higher resolution. So it's like actually extremely functional. Okay, so this is really cool. For M.2 drives, we have a new thing we call a Q slide mechanism. So M.2 drives come in a few different lengths, right? And typically you would have a few different screw holes where you could screw in that M.2 drive. Now, instead of that, if you have like a, I don't wonder if I have it on my desk here. Like the short M.2 drives from like the ROG Ally or something like that. I don't have it with me. I thought I did. But they're like this big. If you want to pop that into your computer because you're moving it from a console or a ROG Ally or something, you can do that. And then this sliding mechanism just goes and holds it in place. Again, a way to get rid of those tiny M.2 screws that always seem to fall out of place or get lost. I dropped one in my power supply once. That was a fun day.
Say goodbye.
But I was like, I don't want that to like short something else. So I was sitting there shaking it.
In the fan. Yeah.
Yep. Don't have to deal with that anymore. Q slide. It's amazing. And then for the M.2 heat sinks, we have a similar like quick release mechanism as well. And I think we have a picture of that too. Yeah. So if you have like the heat sinks, you can just pop those out. This kind of stuff is just so nice, especially if you're building a PC for the first time. Those of us that have been building PCs for like a few decades, like if you're building your first PC with this generation of boards, I'm pretty jealous of you because the crap that I had to go through like 20 years ago to get all this stuff working. My first computer, this is sad, had a floppy connector on it.
Same.
And I put it in a fan header because it looked like it was supposed to go there, and I could not figure out why my computer.
I had help with my first build, and otherwise I would have done horrible things. But it's gotten so much easier to build nowadays. I mean, even with M.2 slots, right? We're talking about multiple screws were needed for so many builds, and the fact that they have a Q release where you don't even have to worry about that is, it's just great.
Yep.
But that's
someone
what
in chat says HDR BIOS next.
I mean, why?
Because we can. Okay, so those are all the features. Those are many of the features of the new X870 and X870E boards. But let's take a look at some of the actual motherboards that we have on offer with this new chipset. You can buy these today from your favorite retailers, different retailers depending on your region. So the best way to find them, I'm not going to put a bunch of where to buy links for like every region in the chat. Best thing to do is go to the website, look for the product page for the motherboard you want. And as long as you're on your country's version of the page, right, which it should tell you at the top, you can click where to buy, and it will show you the retailers that they're available at. If you have a favorite retailer, you can also search them too. But again, different products are going to be available at different retailers, so you may not be able to find the whole lineup at one specific retailer, depending on what region you're in. This is the top, the cream of the crop of our X870 lineup. This is the ROG Crosshair X870E Hero. So for those of you that don't know, Crosshair is our top end for AMD chips. We have our Maximus boards on the Intel side, Crosshair for AMD. Both in terms of features and in construction, right? So the X870E Hero has these really like premium metallic finishes that you can see on this, right? It's got that like really big, nice, shiny heatsink with the ROG logo on it. It also has that really cool stereoscopic visual effect on the heatsinks and our Polymo lighting too on the IO shroud right here.
That's
that
so
lighting
cool.
is so baller.
I want
Such a
this
step
board.
above like normal RGB. This board is nice.
My first
Real
PC that I built when I joined ROG was with a Dark Hero. So like,
I have a Dark Hero too.
this is making me want to go back to looking at this board. It's like, oh yeah, it feels like home.
I know.
Beautiful.
I know. It's really cool. Yeah, and that heatsink down at the bottom, which I think we have some other closer up pictures of, has like a kind of stereoscopic effect, which is cool. Yeah. This board uses 18 plus 2 plus 2 power stages with premium capacitors, right? Pro Cool 2 power connectors, high-end heat sinks. It's got the whole shebang, and filled to the brim with connectivity, right? USB ports. You've got that NitroPath DRAM technology we talked about earlier, the RAM slots, 2 PCIe 5.0 X16 slots, and 5 total M.2 slots. And that comes with the Q latch, the Q release, the Q slide improvements we just discussed as well.
5 M.2 slots. The future is
I know.
now.
You know what? Hey, I got to fit all my games. How am I supposed to play all my games if I can't fit all my games?
You're right.
And also, this is the thing about storage too. And like, back in the SATA days, I realized this. You buy a drive, and then drives get bigger. And so you buy another drive, and then drives get bigger. So you buy another drive. Now you could get rid of the old drive, or you could just keep stacking them on top of each other in the machine, right?
I've done that, but it's like it gets disorganized for me because it
does get very disorganized, but it's a lot cheaper than like trying to just, sell them all and then buy one really, like, because they have to pack the storage more tightly. It's more expensive to do it just with just one drive. So if you have the drives, I had a computer that had like an 80 gig SSD and then a 128 gig SSD and then a 256, just like down
throw
the
them
line,
away.
Right? I still have my first ever SSD in this closet, believe it or not. It still works.
Mine died. Yeah, I remember that. Lasted me about a year.
Sad.
I got unlucky.
Rip.
Yeah.
Rip. In addition to all of that, this has Wi-Fi 7, like we mentioned, alongside dual Ethernet ports. So again, lots of connectivity. You've got 2 USB 4 ports on board, high-end audio chipset and all of that stuff. So you've got like a nice DAC on there, lots of connectors on the back.
Do you know which gen the M.2s are? We have a question in chat.
So they're not all going to be the same.
Okay.
Again, the best way, let me pop this link into chat real quick. Those of you watching this on VOD, you can just check out the video description. So not all of them are necessarily going to be Gen 5.
Okay.
Check out that page and you will see the gen and number of M.2 slots for each of these boards, because it's going to be different depending on the board.
Makes sense.
And it's going to be usually a mix, right? Because it depends on how many lanes are available in total for the chipset and the other features that we've added to it. So where was I? High-end audio connectivity. Yeah. If you're overclocking or you just want like maximum connectivity for a bunch of stuff, like this is the board for X870E. And by the way, fun fact too, this very board was recently used to achieve 5 global first place benchmarks on the AMD Ryzen 9 9950X CPU. So this owns the field, even when it comes to pro level overclocking. This is a global record holder right now.
Gimme.
All right. So if you can't quite swing the Crosshair Hero, I understand. For you, we have ROG Strix boards. We have a number of ROG Strix boards. This is our slightly more mainstream line, but still kind of on the high end, like feature-rich motherboards, right? This is for gamers that want the good stuff, but don't necessarily need everything. And again, if you want to learn about the difference between Crosshair, Strix, all of our different kind of motherboard lineups, I'm going to put another article here in chat. This is also because we have multiple Strix boards, and the way that we differentiate them is with letters. So we have an X870E, X870F, X870A. The difference between those boards, I mean, we'll talk about the differences here, and they're in like the article I posted earlier, but this article will help you figure out kind of what those tend to mean throughout all of our motherboard lineups. It's handy to have. So this is the ROG Strix X870E gaming Wi-Fi. That's I think I missaid it before. It's because it's X870E, the chipset, but then it's our -E Strix board. So 2 E's in there. This is the highest performance of our Strix boards. Most of the bells and whistles we've talked about today, although it only has one PCIe 5.0 slot for your graphics card, alongside its 5 M.2 slots. So if you only need like one full like expansion slot, because you're only using one graphics card and no other expansion things, like then this board is going to give you a bit more of what you need at a better price than the Crosshair Hero, right? It has one 5 gigabit Ethernet port. So again, one Ethernet instead of 2, but for most people, that's all you need. Otherwise, it has lots of rear I/O. It's got like 13 USB ports or something. It's nuts. It's not the Crosshair, but it's going to give you all the stuff like a high-end gamer.
You're speaking my language.
I know, right? So that's the Strix X870E-E. Next are the ROG Strix X870-F gaming Wi-Fi and the X870-A gaming Wi-Fi. So this is the -F, right? These are X870 rather than X870E, so you have fewer lanes total. But again, for a lot of people, this is going to have everything you need, right? Plenty of M.2 slots, plenty of USB, and so on. The F board is kind of in this classic black with this cool like kind of pixel logo on it, which looks
pixel
really
camo,
cool.
I think we call it.
Oh, okay, there you go. And then -A is going to be in another image here, and that one comes in white, right? So our -A boards usually have kind of different aesthetics than the other boards, usually in some kind of like frosty color scheme. So if you're building a snow-themed rig, this is going to be a great board for that.
Yeah, my wife's PCA builder used one of these where it's a different generation, but I call it a Panda build, where it's lots of black and white.
Oh yeah, those are cool too. Yeah. If you do it right, that can look really slick for sure. Okay, finally, rounding out the Strix lineup is our small form factor board. This is the ROG Strix X870-I gaming Wi-Fi. I love small form factor PCs. We've talked about it a few times on this channel. I'm running one back there in my TV cabinet. But I will tell you, our mini ITX boards have been really impressive the last few years. I'm constantly amazed at how much they can fit.
I know.
On these little boards and how much they find new ways to fit stuff on, right? So yes, you've got a standard PCIe 5.0 X16 slot for a graphics card. You've got 2 DDR5 RAM slots. But you also get 2 M.2 slots, Wi-Fi 7, a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port. And then what's really cool is this thing on the side is our ROG FPS2 connector or card that gives you easier access to like front panel headers, SATA ports, and some other extras like that. Because building with these can be really challenging. If you're building inside a tiny case, like you need
you're gonna bleed.
Fingers.
You're gonna cut yourself.
But it's all worth it. All worth it in search of the most compact badass build that you can put together. Here's another thing that's cool about this. So I think the next picture should show this. This also comes with our ROG Strix Hive 2, which is an external control interface that makes it a bit easier to work with some of these compact builds, because some things are like, so it's got a knob on top for volume adjustment, right? That's cool. But then it's got like a built-in button for precision boost overdrive if you want to push your CPU a little bit further, right? It's got a high-end audio solution because, instead of fitting that on the board, we can put in an external DAC, and then you plug in your headset to the Strix Hive, and that's like your little audio control thing has a high-end DAC in it, right? It even has this cool button called a flex key, and you can customize what that button does in the BIOS. So that can be a reset button for the PC, which is handy if you're doing like overclocking stuff. It can be an RGB switch if you like to fiddle with those a lot, or it can be a button that boots straight into BIOS. Also really useful for like overclocking sessions, or when you're just like first doing that build on your 576p monitor that we talked about earlier. You could just like have a button that boots you straight into the BIOS on that Strix Hive, which is a really cool. It's just nice, a cool feature. Little box. I love that they included that with this. It's just another way to like get more functionality out of the small boards, move it off the board and onto something else. We also have a number of other non-ROG boards this gem. We're not going to go through all of them, but I did want to briefly mention the Tough Gaming X870 Plus Wi-Fi because this is a gaming-specific motherboard, fits on this channel. So this is going to be priced even more affordably than Strix, while again keeping again the most essential, but stripping the essentials down to what's the most essential, right? You've got PCIe 5.0, you've got 4 M.2 slots, along with the Q latch and Q release features. So that's
Yeah,
nice.
wow,
It's got
that's
some of
great.
those high-end build features on it. It has AI overclocking and AI cooling and AI networking, which those features weren't always available on our tough boards. Tough boards for the longest time didn't have AI overclocking. That was an ROG exclusive. So
Right.
it's nice that a lot of those things are starting to trickle down to tough boards, or tough boards are trickling up in the lineup. I'm not sure which. Look at it however you want, but I know a lot of people are going to like this one, and the style is really nice. It's got I love all the metallic finishes on the tough boards. We also have some ProArt and ASUS Prime motherboards. We're not going to go through those today because this is our ROG channel. We're kind of sticking with the gaming stuff, but you can check all of those out in the full guide we've linked in the description. If you are a designer or you just like the look of the ProArt boards, they are really, really slick. I like them a
The
lot.
black and gold
The
is
Prime
nice.
boards are nice because they're super affordable. You can check all those out in the guide we've linked in the description. In addition, like I said, head on over to the ASUS North America YouTube channel. Give them a subscribe because our colleague JJ has some great content over there if you want to see a bit more hands-on and in-depth, like actually playing with the BIOS and things like that on these new motherboards. So, guys, thanks for joining us today for this special bonus episode of ROG Pulse. As usual, we'll be back tomorrow streaming some games. Jake, you streaming the Starfield DLC tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Starfield
Baller.
with game key
And
giveaways.
Woohoo! And we'll be back on Thursday with our regularly scheduled ROG Pulse live stream. Thanks for hanging out today, guys. We'll see you next time.